Recording. Hello, everybody. I think it's recording. Yeah. Hi. Welcome. Welcome to the meetup. Martin, you just were about to say something.
I forgot.
OBS. I need to restart OBS, maybe. Yeah, so I have no plans whatsoever. I think we can make this little like yesterday. It just feels like yesterday. The time is flying. So we can have the usual round of like people maybe showing stuff. If anybody wants to present for like 10 minutes or something, I would be extremely happy. So either present like something you made with TiXL or something where like, hey, I'm building this, but please help me to get new ideas or improve the performance or get some things how to refactor stuff. But yeah, maybe just like a very short thing where everybody can get like up to 10 minutes or so. Then we can have a round of, I still like these things where we have these guys here, like a small prompt thing where let's build something with load SVG into like like random seeds here. I think this was fun last time. And then I can show a little bit about the new asset browser if you are interested. I think we're getting there.
Curious about your asset thing.
Yeah, I can show this later.
Yeah. I mean, I just wrote some of the stuff, so I'm kind of curious about ideas. I can share mine as well if you need.
Yeah. So, yeah, does somebody wants to share something? It's always the same question. Everybody's only lurking.
Okay. Nobody wants to talk?
Yeah. Martin, do you want to share something? Do you have something to share?
Right now, I have only, again, my some stuff. I've improved SubdivideLinePoints.
Ah, interesting.
I'm working on an example, and I found something interesting that needs to be fixed, I think.
Oh no, we are not sharing these kinds of things. Nothing needs to be fixed. Everything is perfect. Should I bring you? Okay, so you are on the screen.
Okay.
And I will set a small timer here, so we don't spend much time. Okay.
Okay, so with a radial point, you can draw 3 points. And then with SubdivideLinePoints, we can add more points to the radial point.
Yeah.
I've added this closed shape because in this situation with radial point,
it's rounding over, like it's wrapping over the end of the buffer, I assume.
Yeah, because
yeah,
I didn't activate the.
Yeah.
I can with 5 points and the closed circle line, I can get the same result, but I don't like it. So I've added this closed shape.
Yep.
Then it's working well with. This one I can remove it. It's working well with DrawLine alternative. I can use add noise because I need more points to be able to deform the
Yep.
line like this. Pretty fun.
Yeah. I think actually, I think this is awesome because I think this whole point of having like this buffer being wrapped at the end with this, yeah, either with the separator point or just being like interrupted. I think this happens at many other places. Point also the point where it has a similar problem. I think having an option once in a while to wrap things around at the end of the buffer would be super useful, not only for this one.
So it is really cool. I can use an lim value here, and so
Nice.
since I have more subdivision,
Yeah.
the triangles looks better because if I do like this,
Then the one corner is like broken, maybe. Oh no.
yeah,
This is
it's
the new.
fine.
This is the new. This is the new draw line points. Draw lines. I think. Yeah, I think like this one. Like this is still. I think it would be great to rename this operator. The one reason is that alt in German means old, like like aged or like outdated, which is like completely irritating for me because like but it's the new one. It's not the old one.
Alternative
Or
was
like
too long.
deprecated.
Yeah, alternative is in English is a bit the same, but alternative is weird. So yeah.
Yeah, I think like I mean like what it does is basically like like maybe we call it draw closed lines or something like this because I think isn't this what it does?
Yeah, it's what it does, but it can draw also regular lines.
Just call it draw lines and rename the old one. It's okay. I
If
mean,
I add line point and then add a separator, I get a regular line.
Ah, because okay. So yeah, why do we need to keep the old line, the old draw line?
Ah, good question.
Could you just merge the two modules and have a switch that toggles between the behaviors?
Yeah, maybe. Okay, I
didn't want to make too many changes to break stuff with draw lines.
Yeah.
That's why I created a new one.
Yeah. But I think like if we manage to basically add separators, wait, listen, can you check draw lines alt? Like what's all in there? So it has like line width factor points per shape, and basically
This is the new.
This is the new one.
A new parameter, yes.
And the rest one works out of the box, basically.
Yes.
But I think then we should basically integrate this into the existing draw lines. I think this would be really nice. Because then
then call draw lines.
Yeah, and then call. I mean, ideally, it would be cooler to actually basically extend draw lines. Because otherwise, I think I don't know like how many million of like draw line operators we have all over the project on all the demos and all the examples, but quite a lot. But we haven't so many draw lines all until now, and so basically we can just switch the internals of like draw lines and replace it with draw lines alt, but just keep all the yeah yeah, this is like it's a lot of usages. It's like one of the most used operators. So but yeah, I think we can. This is totally doable. I think I will write like a small to-do thing here, and then it's like a super valuable extension. merge lines. Yeah, I have to say, like the DrawLines was one of my earlier learnings how to deal with screen space stuff and metering and so on. So it's just
Oh yeah, DrawLines is not easy. I can
it's
tell
like
you that.
it's something yeah, it's just it's a task to underestimate. Awesome.
No, it looks really easy, and for people it looks like, oh yeah, you have this very simple thing, but actually it's really hard.
Bresenham wants to know your location type of stuff.
Beg your pardon?
Bresenham, like the Bresenham algorithm to draw lines. It's like the simplest way to draw a line. That's rasterizing a line, basically.
Ah,
It's like a fully integer algorithm that computes which pixels have to be turned on a screen to draw a straight line between 2 points.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like this implementation is like almost like a geometry shader, but not quite. It's like a simple draw call, but like all the thing is being it's done in the basically in the vertex shader. Yeah, and it like the complicated part are these corners, because there you need metering, and then you want to extend the outer boundaries, but then if you do this too much, if the angle gets too small, then you get like super steep peaks. And that's why there's like all like the professional drawing applications, like let's say Illustrator, so they have like this meter limit, and yeah, metering is like it's just a terrible problem. Okay.
Yeah, that's what Inkscape does also, for example, I think.
Yeah. There's no automatic solution that works for all situations, but I didn't want to expose the metering here because it's already complex enough. It already got way too many options. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Somebody else wants to share something or has a question or so? Like,
Don't stay in the back of the school room.
it's like,
You need to add some feedback to the.
it's always yeah. One day I will figure out like how to motivate people to talk, but I think it's just the way it is. Like some
I
people.
think there's like a Discord stage thing where you can like say someone is presenting, but that's maybe only available to like some servers or locked behind some boosters.
My problem is not how to let people present stuff. My problem is that nobody wants to present.
Oh, right.
So it's like the opposite. So yeah. So speaking so what do you do with TiXL? Like what brings you here?
Well, kind of the wrong person, because I don't think very long to the stuff I do.
Mhm.
So I jump a lot between stuff.
Yeah.
And I've not been in a visual art phase lately, so
Okay. But it's still cool that you're here. So it's interesting. Yeah. You fought that. Welcome. Anyways, like if you're using it or not, doesn't matter. So everybody's welcome here. Yeah, and maybe somebody will find more questions or more things later. I think we can make like a short round of like these prompt quests. Maybe do 3 and very short, maybe like 5 minutes or so. or like 7 minutes, I think. Yeah, 5 minutes. Let's see how far we get. And this is just for me like a quick reminder, like why we do this or why this is interesting. So this is our symbol library. If you clear the search, like these are all the operators that are available if you run TiXL. There might be a bunch of new ones because I'm running this alpha version here, but not that many. And then the whole point of TiXL is that we can combine these operators and very strange ways to build stuff and build creative things or come up with ideas or solve solutions. And so you can search here. So you can say, hey, draw something, draw, and then we see all the stuff we can draw, or draw lines, or the stuff we can do with lines. But you can also search for question mark, and question mark will give you an operator, and a random operator that is either like very common or could be also very uncommon, like combine 3 images, also like an interesting one. I think like this is complexity, and let's make it like complexity of like low complexity. And then we can add a bunch of ops here. Let's add.
And what is the complexity based on? Like the number of lines per operator or stuff like that?
The complexity is based on this thing here. So if I'm recalculating this is just like a visual representation. So it takes, I don't know why it's taking that long. Normally, I think I'm blaming it to Windows 11, or maybe it crashed. I don't know. But so then like this is like a visual representation of which operator is being used where and how often. And so for instance, point light is used very, very often. And remap is also used very often, and gradients detector is also used very often. But if we increase the complexity here, then we get like combined 3 images, and this is used very rarely and only in examples, or like the texture to cube map is a little bit. And then we have string insert, which is not used at all. So very, very rare. And basically this is the, like, you know, the lower the complexity, the more common these operators are. And it's just, you know, like, it's just a way so you don't, we don't cover like super confusing fringe case operators, but more like the more common one that still might have surprising use cases. Oh, 808, this is nice. Okay, let's start with this one. So I'm pressing the timer here, and we have 5 minutes to build something with like these guys. And basically, I'm just me. This is just me saying, "Hey, did you know what you can do?" And these guys are, yeah, we have RepeatAtPoints, which is my favorite op ever. Then we TransformPoints, which has a bunch of things you might not know. And it even has like a bunch of parameters that are no longer used, but ignore this. And then we have some which might be interesting. And then let's quickly build something of this. So I will start with some because this is a numeric thing, and normally numeric stuff goes towards the left because this is where the processing starts frequently. And actually, like sum and add is the same thing. So if we have, let's say, if we have a number, let's say we have AudioReaction, and maybe we can enable like an external device here and pick my maybe pick like some kind of microphone here. Then we can take, for instance, like this guy and add it with a value. And then basically we have our audio input here, but then we can add something to this volume level. So something, you know, might be useful, might be not be useful. It's actually going on.
Basically, you can use it as an offset.
Yeah, this would add an offset. The problem is that sometimes you think like, wait a second, I also want to add, let's say, like some kind of animation value also, but then there's like, it's already taken, then you, of course you could add another art. But I think the cooler idea is actually if you want to add something, then just use sum. It's the same thing, you know, it will return the same thing.
Some is for like n parameters instead of just two.
Yeah. And so that's why sum is actually useful, and I use it all the time. So then we can basically use maybe this guy here and say, okay, we have maybe a sign or something, so it's continuous. And maybe we switch this guy here from output pulse to maybe like the level. And then we get a value here. I'm not really sure why the graph is not working there correctly, but I can look into this. And we can, actually I know why. And then we can think about like, okay, what does TransformPoints do? And RepeatAtPoints. So we can start with something simple. Let's say we have a radial points, and then we have, let's say, another radial points. And then we can say, okay, we repeat at these points, we repeat these points, and then we draw these points. So I don't know why this gives us like this almost sunflower spiral, but it's actually interesting. I wouldn't have expected that. But basically the idea is that we have a bunch of points, and on these points, if we remove these, we see how at these points, at these 4 points, we repeat these points. Straightforward. The nice thing is that we can quickly change the size of the radius here, but we can also change the size of the scaling and say, okay, I want to have smaller points or something like this. And then we can do things, let's say, we can add like more modifiers and so on. But most important, we can scale this guy here and say, okay, maybe we have an offset here. Okay, see, it doesn't make so much sense, but since this is using the local point space of this guy, transforming these guys will offset them along these circuits, which might be super cool, very useful. And then we can quickly move this towards the scale here and see what's happening. And then we have something very weird. So like it's a little bit audio reactive with a bit of offset here. And at the time is over.
Smooth the
yes, of course. We can take the damping here and like smooth it a little bit, so it's a little bit less wild, and maybe have like this so but a small little thing. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but it does something.
It's going too much into the negatives, maybe.
Yeah, maybe like this is all like like should probably like the amplitude should be smaller and so on, but yeah, but it could be some nice effect for something. Okay, next seat. So
there is a question from
okay. Okay, sorry, thanks for pointing this out. How do you see it? I have to find the chat. Okay, I found the chat. Is there any tutorial on Artnet? Ha! For example, I want to control the color channels of the light now. Pen and tilt. I mean, you don't have to excuse yourself for the English while listening to me, because my English is also horrible. So don't be worried. I think we can try to build something with Artnet later. But to be honest, I'm not really an expert there. And I like the expert is Barney Do. So like you can, like he's the guy contributing most of this stuff, doing an awesome job on this, and he actually does like live visuals and stage setups with this. But I yeah, I think I would love to defer this until I can show a little bit more. But there is I can show you one little thing, which is let me quickly get like my browser here. So if we go to TiXL and then we go to GitHub, like to the AutoCAD, and then to the wiki. So this is what we have as written documentation. And here there is a little bit controlling stage light via Artnet DMX. And there's a little bit of documentation, so it's like not nothing. Actually, it's a lot of text to read. But I'm not sure. Maybe you already scanned that. But if not, I will paste this here to the chat. And yeah, there are. I think there are a bunch of examples. So if we hide this, so I think there is an example here. Artnet example points to night. So I'm not sure what this actually does. I'm so scared. Yeah, so sadly, this example obviously is broken, but you can already see it does like some complex stuff. So we have basically like this is a stage setup, and we can't see the stage right now because the OBJ file is missing. But it does some you know, like it is a bunch of moving headlights that move around. And I think there might even be some kind of disco center effect. There might even be some lights, combined buffer reference points, time old disco effects, orient points. So there's a point, this is the target locator, and so it can actually do things like move all the moving heads towards a certain, let them point to a certain location. And yeah, but the setup is finicky. The setup, I can already tell you, the setup will be, especially with the moving heads, you will need to add these point light DMX channels separately and so on. But yeah, the documentation covers it a little bit. Okay, answered this question. So next quick prompt here. So I wanted to make 3 of these. So what's like, what? So, okay, the next one is SamplePointAttributes. Ooh, CylinderMesh. Interesting. Okay, we load an image. We SamplePointAttributes, and we have a CylinderMesh. This one is outdated. It's obsolete. The new operator for this is called channels. Attributes from image channels. It's the same thing, so it looks very similar. But yeah, this one is just the newer one. So like we just ignore this guy here, this guy. And let's quickly think about what we could do here. So we can have we have a cylinder mesh. So let's do something very simple. So once again, we have a radial point. So then this guy uses an image texture to set attributes. And how this works, we can, or maybe we use a grid point. I think a grid point is a little easier to understand. We have points of grid. Let's make it 10 points wide and 10 points high. we plug it in there, and let's basically have let's draw our mesh. So draw a mesh at points, and then we put in our cylinder mesh, and then we can look at this guy here. So we have this is our 10 by 10 grid of cylinders. So maybe we should rotate this guy here. So I think there should be some kind of rotation. So we rotate this by 90 degrees. Oh, I can showcase this super cool new feature. Oh no. It doesn't work with vectors, which it can't.
Single.
Yeah, it can't. Which because it's like yeah, I think it's okay that it can't. Okay, anyways. This is a bug. You seen this? I didn't want to change it. So we take the radius here and reduce it. So we see our cylinders. So it takes this grid. Maybe we have like a little bit more cylinders here. Right now, so this is not used yet, but let's insert it in here. And now the question is, what can we do with this? And a quick thing would be to have a linear gradient. Type it in there. Say this is ping pong and repeat. So we can offset our gradient here. And maybe we take the offset and we put this into time. So it's constantly offsetting. I know we can decide, okay, how do we want to use the color channels here? And let's say we take the red channel and we use it to offset the Z position. And now we have to say, okay, how much do we want to offset the Z position? And we can offset it a little bit. And then we have our offset here. You can already see, now this looks kind of crappy because like, why is this not a moving, why is this not smooth? And it's not smooth because this guy uses linear interpolation, but we can change the interpolation to smooth. And now it's like smoother. The cut off then. Yeah, it's
Maybe
cut off on the thing.
align to width.
You mean like the
Linear gradient size mode aligned to width.
width align to width. I think like this guy needs to be scaled, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and I think like this guy can be used for all kinds of things. So we can say, okay, we're using the red channel to translate X. But then we can use another channel, the green channel, to maybe rotate them around X. I don't know what this does, but maybe it does something interesting here. Okay, actually not what I expected, but still interesting. So now it's only returning them downwards, but maybe we also want to rotate them upwards so we can change the offset there. And maybe we have like, if this is going to minus 45, so it's going like a little bit up and a little bit down. And since it's both of them are combined, basically they have this nice movement here. And then eventually we can actually have combine this into different channels. So we can say, okay, maybe the rotation comes from something completely different. So maybe we have like radial gradient. And then we have combine 3 images, I think it was called. Let's take this guy into the red channel and this guy into the green channel. And drag this there. And now we can use this guy also for something else. So we can put something interesting here. And once again, maybe we use the same time and use it there. Offset. Okay. 3 minutes. So we had a prompt and it's awesome. I think it's interesting. We can also maybe it would also be interesting to use both of them for scaling uniform. Looks also interesting. Okay, so yeah. strange things happen. So next one. Of course, if you have questions or suggestions, always ask.
Question, because then you will say, "Oh no."
Okay. Maybe so one last quick session. There's something is completely off with this rounding here. So we have AudioReaction, PickString from string list, and camera. I think we had something similar earlier. I think last time, but then again it was broken, so this stream got deleted by somebody. So we already had AudioReaction. We take picks from string list. So let's take this guy and maybe we have like read file. Maybe we find a file like this JSON thing here. I don't know what this does. Shader config. Then we pipe this into our we have that this needs a list. No, it actually tells us it requires an input, so we can click here and it will propose a bunch of things that work that generates string lists. We can use this with string, put a pipe in there, and this will split at lines. Maybe let's start with lines for now. This would give us a list like this. P gives us a list. We see these are like all the things we get here, and then we can P and go through like the different lines here. And then obviously we could say we could take this AudioReaction. We use float to int, pipe this into the index, and then one thing that is very nice, but most people don't know, is the output of accumulated level. And this will basically, we see how this is moving, advancing a little bit. Beg your pardon? Ah, okay, it was something unrelated. So I think if we increase the bias here, and I think if we decrease the threshold, then now like this will go, this will increase much faster. And yeah, now when I'm talking, we see that once in a while we get a new thing. Maybe we increase it even more by multiplying with 10. And now we should see some different things here every time I speak. Maybe we can also inject a damp in here. Damp. So now it's like it should have some smoothing in the end. And then we could say we maybe just draw this text, maybe decrease its size, and maybe we put like a random thing here. Let's say we have an oscillate vec2, put this into the position. So now it's moving all the time. Maybe we want to also change, like get some random position here. So we can say, okay, maybe this guy goes into the position. And maybe we multiply this drastically, so get some really stupid random position. And maybe we just render this into a render target and we don't clear it. Sometimes this looks like already like sometimes I think like not clearing sometimes is interesting. And maybe we put this into a group and we clear it a little bit. So we have a layer 2D, we paste this into our group. And maybe we have it black, but not much. And then we have this to scale or cover stretch. So now we have like some kind of weird, I don't know, like I don't know what this is, but it's an example that combines these three ops.
Oh wow, this is a nice trick.
With this not clearing.
Yes.
Yeah, this is the way. This is what demo scene people in the 90s called motion blur. It's like it's very cheap, but to be honest, it can be very it can actually do very interesting things. So it's not like just to generate images. It's actually super useful. And for instance, if we decrease this here quite a lot, then this might, you know, like if we would run this for a while, it actually generates. It can generate interesting designs.
Maybe the layer 2D if you use HSB to color.
If we use the HSB to color in the
U for the layer 2D.
yeah, HSB to color to clear it with different
To clear
HSB to color, and then we have very little alpha again. Yes. And then we can have
some saturation and animate the U.
So we have this guy get a little bit of saturation. And we bring this down even further. And then it's probably I think if you let this run for a while, it might turn into gray again. Not really sure actually what it like how like this would be. But yeah, now we see a little bit of history there.
Maybe we are too close now.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, you know, it's still something prompting, and maybe it would be possible to build something with this guy, and like it's not unlikely that this could actually lead to something more interesting. So maybe if we use this guy here, splitting it with slashes, we get like smaller distributions of what actually, I don't know. Obviously we can it's almost like a tech cloud almost. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that was our little session of random prompts. We could also build a bunch of copycats.
A
challenge?
Propose.
Yeah, shoot.
So there's this old. I remember when I was young and before watching the Eurovision on TV, there was a waiting screen. And it was looking like this. You can see my screen.
Ah, yeah. Oh. Yeah, this is interesting. Okay, wait a second. I can bring it over. And wait a second. I have to figure out how to do this with. I have to close the chat first. Yeah, this is very interesting. That's the Eurovision song, the logo. So what we do here is, I mean, just the reflection stuff. This screams SDF.
I want to use PolarRepeat.
Yeah.
But then those lines.
Yeah.
Right now I'm doing it. I'm trying, but
yeah. Interesting. Yeah, we can totally look into this. I think it's an excellent challenge. I think like these challenges are the most fun. So let me quickly get back to my thing. Images.
There are also other versions that are really cool.
Contest logo.
You can paste the link because it's not so easy to find.
But I know it. I completely
I added a link in the chat.
Ha! Ha! I've heard. It's the same thing, isn't it? Like this guy here?
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Okay, we take this guy and we let's save it as. So we save it as documents. TiXL. Playground. Resources. Images. And it's an excellent segue to the new asset browser because we can use LoadImage, press P. We can open the new asset browser, but we can of course talk a little more about this guy later. So let's pin this down here. And we see, I loaded my fork. I see that we have this little small indicator here, so I can click it and it will go to the different forks. I can switch between them. But we can go to our playground here, and then at images we have this Eurovision Song Contest. So these lines, I think it's very complicated, much more complicated than it looks like. Because like this, the simple thing would be, we only have, or let's say, let's start with this. So there is actually, there is a polar coordinates. And what we can do with this guy is it will, we can turn like a radial thing into like the original thing. And like, okay, like this doesn't really make sense because, but maybe if we change the, radius here, so basically we can see, like this is a radial thing, and this is how it would look like if we unwrap it. It's super useful. Yeah, it's just a very, very useful thing. And I think maybe we switch it there, and we have like this guy. Yeah, so just very useful. And we see that we can see how, yes, it's circles, but the circles are extended on one side, which is kind of tricky to do because we would need to have some kind of way to make them clip right here. And this is, I think we don't have this function yet. We have this in SDF, but not with lines. So that's why I think I personally wouldn't know how to do this without a custom shader. With custom shader it might be easier, but without custom shader.
With a box, a box is a line.
Yeah, but then, so what I'm trying to say is, let's say, let's pin this here, or reference, and have a new output window. Like this here. So let's take a line points, and then we have, so I would do this like this. I would have like RepeatAtPoints. Once again, we take this guy and put it in here. So we repeat line points at radial points, draw lines. Now this needs to be pinned, and this I also want to pin. Yeah, it's pinned. And now we want to have a star, so we can just change the radius to 0. And probably we only need is like half a rotation, because otherwise they would overlap. And these guys here have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 4. So like 7 by 4. And I know like these guys. Actually, wait a second. This was wrong. This should be maybe this like the number of the European states. Maybe like normally they have some kind of meaning in there. But now like these guys, how would you offset them? I don't understand how you would do this.
Scale.
Maybe if you scale it.
Attribute.
But if you scaled, I have an idea. I have actually an idea. We can scale these guys. And maybe so I mean it's a little bit misleading, so we can actually draw points. So so actually it's a lot of points, and then we could use a mask to basically set the radius here to 0 or something, like, or a selection to basically have like this rounded thing here. I think this could work. I think maybe we can try it quickly. So basically we could say select points with SDF. We need an SDF here, so we have a box here. I'm so confused. I would have expected this to be is it too small? I'm so confused. Why doesn't this work? Points, strength. Yeah. This is this guy. This is this guy. Okay. I would have thought that this shouldn't have made any difference. Box SDF, select points with SDF, strength. Huh. Huh. Okay. Quickly look into this. The result is 0. Okay. I would say this is a bug, and I will write this down. Let's check whether or not this is like why we broke it. Huh. Yeah, sorry about this. So anyways, Nick. Hi, Nick.
Oh. Yes, I just joined.
Martin is doing something clever with map point.
Yeah, but it's not working like I expect.
Yeah. I think it's a very tricky. Let's cheat and not do it with lines. I think it would be cool to do it with lines, but let's just cheat and build it quickly. So with frame marching, so we can say we have it is cylinder SDF, and we rematch. No, we have a cylinder SDF and we rematch it. Ooh, this is still working. So then we should be able to now build our star by making this smaller and this much longer. Then we can create a star by repeating radial repeat. Radial. Like a repeat feed. Repeat axis, repeat polar, not radial but polar. And we want to repeat around the z-axis, and we want 14 repetitions, decided earlier. And I think now we have like this problem again that that we actually, if we do this, then we do them double, which is kind of strange. So now we take this guy and we clamp it with this I don't know, like this rounded box shape. Combine SDF. What is it? Capsule or something? Capsule SDF. Do we have Captorus SDF? I think this guy here. No. Didn't we have does this guy has this guy has a rounding. Okay, then we want this guy. So we combine this guy with our cylinder SDF and we say we intersect. And then of course this guy needs to be, you can reset these guys. It needs to be higher. It needs to be wider. It needs to be in the center. And probably, and then it needs to be round. And maybe we have we add a little bit more. We can actually see how we do this. And so now this guy has to go a little bit down or up. Where does this has to go with rounding? If these guys are much longer and this guy is much higher, something like this. And now we can repeat this guy again. So we translate this guy, and then we use another repeat polar around C repetitions. I don't know, 8 or something like this, and something like this. Other way around. Almost. Almost.
I think the way they did it in the original was they made the initial shape and then in 2D they did a polar. So I think it was originally like just horizontal repetition and then they applied polar because then you can have the warping and the mirror.
I see.
But maybe not, but that's how I'm imagining they probably did it.
Yeah.
The 1960s.
But yeah, it's
Congratulations.
That looks really good.
It's not too shabby, isn't it? It's almost like it's almost there.
Way better than me.
But I have to say it's a challenge. And well, you said it's a challenge, so but yeah, it's much trickier than I thought it would be.
And the SDF, I would use the capsule SDF because you see.
Yeah, much faster. I was actually looking for this, but then I found like the Capitors. I think capsule is much faster. Yeah.
I was thinking, I wanted to try and do it with the DrawLines, but
Also,
I was thinking RepeatAtPoints, and then in theory, if you scale the source points, the line should get longer, right? But I wasn't sure how to scale the points.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I'm trying with MapPointsAttributes, but
it's tricky. I mean, let's give it a try. So basically, what we want is, so if we take out this guy, so we want this shape. I think or almost like this shape. I think like this is a little bit happier because it will cut off and extend the overlaps. But so if we have radial points and we repeat at points and we repeat line points, and if we draw these, let's draw these as points. Then we already decided that this needs to be a radius of 0. I think this is still true. And I think these guys needs to it needs to be like the one pivot or so, or like the 0 pivot, but like one of these two, so we don't have this we don't have the draw lines twice. And then we should be able to have like the map. Wasn't there like linear sample point attributes or something like this? So this will use the line points through the thing, or maybe we can actually even do this. Let's try this first. So we can say the scaling of these points is we use this we use F1 for that.
So the source is F1,
So source
which
F1.
is the radial points.
Yeah, the radial point. And then in radial point, we can say, it starts with 0, but then goes somewhere.
Yeah, that's why I was trying, but the source F1 doesn't seem to work for me. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, I think.
Well, I'm trying with soft transform points, but it only affects the scale W.
Somewhere.
Let's try this with map point attributes. So this was the thing that Martin is, I think, playing with. So we write to F1. We take the curve thing here, and then we and then
I don't know. You could put a gradient into map point attributes.
or actually, it needs to be the target.
As a value texture.
Yeah. And then okay. Actually not. Maybe. What?
I'm happy to see that I'm not the only one being confused.
There you go. It's working. Not.
It's the same when I'm using this kind of tool in Blender. So
I definitely interesting. Definitely interesting. But yeah, it's maybe this should be horizontal, and maybe this should be. But why is this now? It's not too shabby actually. So maybe
not bad.
it's almost like the thing we were looking for. And then the idea would be, can we actually have like this the radial points, and we can have the start angle, and oh, look at this. Is this actually correct? I would have expected if I turn this.
Is that the view? Maybe you're looking from the other side.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think like the thing is that we have a right-handed coordinate system, which means if you take your right hand and then look at your hand, then the thumb is the axis, the rotation axis, which right here is like 0. And then basically your fingers would be the rotation, which means like 90 degrees would rotate counterclockwise with a right-handed coordinate system. But I think this is completely legit to have it like this. So like don't change this. I think it's
Just press F in the viewport.
F. Yeah. So anyways, we can take these are our points. We have line points. Then we repeat at these line points. We repeat this guy here. This is a lot of points now, a lot of points. But we can say I want less points, and I want them much further apart. Yeah, like this would be if we could clamp like this the scaling, or like the scaling, whatever like math formula this would be to avoid the overlap here. But if we would find a way that does not overlap, then we can use and I think here we I think would be less points is enough. Then we could use the polar transform points and Cartesian to cylindrical, which is okay. And the rotation is to be honest, I'm not really sure like how this works. Polar transform. What's even going on? I'm so confused.
I would do it in the shaded context rather than the points themselves.
Cartesian to cylindrical. I think this is halfway okay if we find like the way. I think it's always like this guy needs an axis thing. Like it needs an axis parameter. Right now it's always assuming y, which is unfortunate really. But now I think if it's it's almost like the thing we
We don't have a shader that we can mirror. And
I mean, not for the line points. There's like not a custom point shader there. But yeah. But I think the rough idea would be it's almost there, maybe if we scale it, almost. And if you have like less points here for our radial points, map points attributes. So like why is this like so many points? So like if we only have like a bunch of points, it's almost there, I think. Ah, okay. I see. I'm not convinced. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about this. We were drifting. Yeah. So speaking of like this, maybe we can talk a little bit about this asset management thing. So what's the state of this? So the idea was that in the long term, we need some way of allowing users to switch between files and file references and motivate them to store their files or links to their files into the resources folder of their projects. Because this is where things would be better to use, easier to find and keep things consistent. I know this is a big issue. People don't like to copy them there, but we might also handle, we have to deal with this. And my approach to solve this whole thing was that so currently, or let's first try like what do we need to fix or what do we need to change. And the first thing is that like we need to get rid of like this window here, because it was just a proof of concept by Dominic, and it's just very, very confusing because it's just a proof of concept. You know, the only thing he wanted to show was we can have like these projects, and these projects has resources, and then we can browse for these resources, and this thing shows which resources are currently relevant in the context I'm currently in. And in this case, we are in our playground project, and for the playground, the relevant resources can be found in lib and T3, but not in other projects that I might have open because they're not sharing any resources. So the way I thought would be one way to get rid of this, and yay, and the closing crashes. Yeah, yes. So yet another reason why we should get rid of this window. I'm not even sure like why it crashed with like internal CLR. Like it's actually very and it's a very bug very like interrupt marshal services is like you don't even want to think about why this would be a problem. I don't want to bore you with this task. So anyways, we want to get rid of this window, and while I'm thinking, okay, I want to get rid of this window, Alex made a very nice feature request, and like, well, I also don't like this window. I would do it like it should just look like the symbol browser. And he was totally right. It was a very great idea to make it very similar to symbol browser, and this is what I did over the last 2 weekends. So let's bring this up again. And the idea would be, bring this, maybe you can clear this so it doesn't look too broken here. The idea would be that pressing these dots would bring up this window if it's not already there. If it all would be already there and would be sticked, then nothing would happen, but this would be focused. Then once we have this, like we see this guy there is flickering, I don't know, like blinking. So we can click here to reveal the current file path in this wherever like the structure is. And we see this is the current selected thing, and just by clicking these, we just can switch between different files we have here. It will automatically limit the file types. So I don't know why this is like, I don't know why we have this test footage, but we have. But yeah, so like it will give us all the different files we ship with the current examples here.
Like showing only bitmaps.
Yeah, it's only bitmaps. It's only bitmaps. And if you deselect this operators, it will once again show you all the types. It will. The nice thing is if you have types, you can also take them and drag them directly on the graph, which is also nice. And this works for internally. We try to wrap the different data types into what we call now S types. So this would also work with things like, for instance, here we have the fonts, and then if you drag it on this, then we say, oh, like this is not the font I want. But if you take, for instance, Iceland font, you can drag it down here. It will see, like this font loads a file path. It wants a resource, and this resource, if we go into the details here of this file path, this wants an FNT extension. And through this, we can infer, like this wants to switch between fonts, so we can just switch between fonts here. And I think this is already, like, I think this is very intuitive behavior, I think.
Super cool.
Yeah, I think it solves like many of like these problems, because most of the time you don't even need this guy if you have this guy already open, which a lot of people probably will. And in the background, we have now a definition of something that I call an asset type registry. And there we register all our types. Right now, if you click on this little box here, we see, the settings thing got red, and it got red because it's active. So if we jump in here, we see, this is, needs to be updated. So right now, these are all the assets we have, all the asset types. So we have 200 files that can be loaded. And then we have like 31 OBJs and so on. So we can actually filter for these guys. And then we get like all these, all the different things. We can drag them in here and then draw them. Like, hey, we have a rounded ring bevel. Did you know? I didn't. So why? Why do we have this? But we have. And then, yeah, you can basically then switch back to all types. And then Martin already gave this feedback that he doesn't really like that this list is now filtered. So I also added this sync with selection checkbox down there, so we can disable this. And now if we go to all, then like these will they will still select them, but they will no longer hide the mismatched files. But now you are no longer able to select them, because but actually I have to think about, so maybe this would actually work if we pick a cube. It should, if we pick an OBJ, it should still check this. Yeah, I think this I can look into this. But yeah, and then we have I implemented a bunch of things, so we can have open externally, of course. This would bring up whatever is associated on your drive with this file. And we also have this Reveal in Explorer, which right now will bring up the shadow copy at debug, but this is just because I ran it from an IDE, so that's why it's not the release thing. Yeah, this is where things are right now. One thing that will come soon is obviously I want to drag this guy into there, so we see, hey, it's already doing stuff. But if we release, then it will probably say not implemented yet. So we don't have drag and drop, but it will come. And another thing that I want desperately to have is, like there's this collapse all. Sometimes this is useful to collapse all the files, which is, yeah, I really love this button here. What did I wanted to say something? I wanted to say, yeah, we have a registry now of these asset types, like these guys. And in this registry, we link these icons and the colors of these so that we can draw them flexibly. We link the valid extensions for these guys. So for instance, for GLTF, it's not so easy because it's actually GLTF and GLB. Both are valid. And with image, obviously, image is like a very long list of the things we support. But this can also link to what is the proper way to organize this file asset. And with this, we can say the proper way to store a file asset is actually in your project. There should be an images folder. And if it's not there, you should create it. And with this, we could do things like, I don't know. So maybe I can go here to my desktop, maybe like here. So we could do things like, I have a JPEG here, I drag it in here. And then it would say, it's an image file. If you direct it from your resources folder, it would just do like, then it would be in here already, and then it would just create this this load image thing. If it wasn't already there, it would ask you, okay, what do you want to do? Copy it, link it, hard link it. So you basically, you have a reference in your project folder there. And it will also propose creating this images folder. So if you just press OK, you would have an images folder in there if it's not already there. Otherwise, it will dump it in there. And I think this will make people users into, okay, it does what I think it should do, hopefully. So what do you guys think?
It's awesome.
Thanks. So
Looking forward to see to play with it more.
yeah, I mean it's live on alpha, of course, because I want to play with it and test it a little bit, and we already saw that there are a bunch of things that need some tweaking and testing, obviously. We already saw that while starting it, we found a bunch of hey, SVG is not yet supported. It's not registered, but it should be very straightforward. And we also there are things. For some reason, I have to look into this compute shader with shaders. We have a shader type here, but for some reason internally it's filtered out because there are too many. So I have to look into this. So there still are a lot of there are some things that needs to be looked into this. But then I think it's we can safely disable this guy here. Or like not disable it, but replace the file asset browser with this new thing. Yeah. So Vox, you wanted to show like how do you deal with assets in your tool? Maybe if you're still there.
You're talking to Mr. Vox?
Yeah, I thought so. But maybe I mean his mic like I don't know, maybe he will join later, so maybe he's away from keyboard right now. Yeah, and yeah, we can talk about one more thing I thought about. I mean, obviously I'm thinking about stuff all the time, and I have a very long time, a very long to-do list for. So in 2 weeks, I will go on my tool retreat and do tools for non-stop for 2 weeks. So there a lot of new stuff will come out of that. But yeah, I really want to look into this. But one like a small thing I saw yesterday while I watched you guys playing with like live streaming and building stuff was that Peter or Stephen, I think Stephen was like, yeah, there he is.
Hey, what's going
Hey, like thinking about having like some way of controlling the camera interactively. And
we're working on that like kind of free fly camera, but it has the I don't know if you were able to listen in, but yeah, it has that thing where it just kind of flips.
I think like the I can show you something, but it's not what you want. But it indicates where it could be.
Right.
And there's always, there's always this like, do you know like the flowchart for engineers? I love this, like this flowchart with like, is it loose? Should it? Like if it's not loose, but it should be, then use W40 or something like this.
Right.
But if it's loose, but it shouldn't be, then use duct tape. Then like the solution to all engineering things. And like in TiXL, the same thing would be, can it be an operator? If it is an operator, what are the parameters? And like, and if we know what the parameters for an op are, then it's basically done. It's like then like this is like, I mean, obviously this is not always true, but very, very, very frequently the complicated part is like figuring out, okay, if it's an operator, what are the parameters of this operator? And for like a fly-through camera, free flight camera, it's actually not so obvious, because you want to reset the camera, you want to probably blend with other cameras, you want to control it, probably with a keyboard, probably not, maybe with a space mouse. But you don't want a space mouse camera and like
I think for something like this, probably gamepad, honestly.
Yeah, totally valid. And I think I have
It's definitely close. Like me and Martin and Sense have been working on one for quite a bit now, and we've handed it off to a couple different people. So
check out this thing. So the question is, you want to have a state. A state meaning let's make a sketch here. So for me, like a state is something the operator needs to store some information which is not parameters.
Right.
Because if like this, this would be like the camera we already have. So we want something that is not in parameters. And an example for this would be for like a feedback effect. The feedback effect stores something, but if you change the resolution, it's gone. And like it's something like this. And or like point trail is a good example. Most of the time, like we need some kind of like reset to like get like there probably should be some kind of default, and sometimes we want to have things like blending into something else. Bringing it back to like a default or so might be like something. And one thing I was thinking about is, okay, like if we have, let's say we have a particle system. Like the particle system is something, this has a state. And like if I have a single point, I have a point here, I emit this point, I emit it only once. Or maybe we have like any
cool.
Maybe
I didn't even know you could put once in there. That's cool.
Yeah, it's like this. Yeah, that's why we have this code. So maybe I have it once or I trigger it. So let's say so like these two guys come together, and maybe if I emit, I also want to reset just to make sure.
Yeah.
So then we can draw this point here, and now nothing happens. Of course, okay, it comes close to me. And now if I clear this, we get a of course, we should pin this here. If I trigger this, then we emit a single point here. Boop, boop, boop.
Right.
And then we set the count to -1 to make to say it gets the size of the mid buffer, which is 1. So now I should have a single point that basically starts from scratch. So now I can take the single point and look at it. I mean, okay, but this is okay. This is like the most boring thing you can do. Like, why would you ever do this? But maybe we add like a field force or something like that. They're like a volume force. I think we call it like a volume force. Volume. Oh, like wait a second.
Yeah,
Here, like there, we want a force, a field volume force, and maybe we have like a sphere here or something like this. So now, like this guy is like jumping back and forth, and maybe enable bound. So now this is doing a little bit more interesting things, and maybe change the offset a little bit, so we have like a more like chaotic thing. Like this is flying around. We can now look at this point by bringing it back to CPU. And then we see how this basically, it has like a position and it has like an orientation. And I was completely independent of your problem, like playing with this. I want to define with points a super precise position for a camera animation. And so I built this thing here. And if we look at this guy, so this gives us a camera, like, and then maybe we have.
Could you use that? Just a little quick aside. I just had the thought of, could you do points to light? Because if you look at my screen right now, I have all these little orbs. I was just thinking, I was like, man, it'd be so cool if each one of those orbs could be a point light that could be lighting up the mesh. You know, like you could go CPU point to camera. Could you go CPU point or point to point light?
Of course.
Ooh, sweet.
But I mean, not out of the box, but totally doable with like this one limitation that right now the number of points light we have is fixed, clamped to 8.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But we could totally have like an operator that basically takes a bunch of points and combines turns them into point lights. It completely would be very straightforward.
Gotcha. Okay. Question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Continue.
So maybe we have draw line grid or something like this, and maybe we have, I don't know, like some cubes or so. Cube mesh, draw mesh at points. Maybe have like grid points. Randomize these points. Randomize points. Draw them here. Maybe we draw a scene here. Make this into group. So just for something to see. So we make our cubes very teeny weeny cubes. And maybe stretch them and then maybe scatter them around with like here. So we see something. Maybe scale them down a little bit more and make them longer. So now we if we would fly through this, we should see something. So we can, this guy gives us a camera. We can reuse camera, and then we can use this guy to render our scene. There you go. Fixed it. Not. I don't know what's going on. I think like this guy is no longer being updated. Good question. I think like this guy is now stuck because maybe it got like to the center of it got to the center and is being stuck there. So maybe if we re-emit, so now we see like, like this is basically, this is our particle flying around our scene.
Oh, wow.
Which is actually kind of, it's actually kind of cool because we actually, and then eventually it gets stuck in the middle because, I don't know, the field volume force might be like a little bit too strong here. So maybe we bring this down. I'm not saying this is a solution for what you need. I'm trying to say that some kind of this operator we need. Not like getting it from point to camera, but just like, there would be like this guy should be something like either having like a CPU point. This could be something like just a point, and then we control the point in space. Or we could have something where basically you trigger and the interface would be move left, move right, turn left, turn right. Like basically this would be the parameters. And then you could combine these, like, move these parameters to gamepad or like the mouse or whatever, keyboard or something like this. But yeah, I think like, I know.
So I had another idea too. So if you look at the camera operator, is there? I feel like it would be helpful if we had a null, like a. So for example, like the target vector 3, right? It'd be cool if we had. I mean, I know we have a locator, but the locator doesn't function as a controller. Basically when I'm flying through the, trying to free fly, and then I go past that halfway point, and then the camera switches 180 in direction. It's because, the target is remaining at the axis center. But if we had a null that could plug into this target, just like a null modifier or something, and then we could actually change the location of that null, parent it to the camera, and have it just slightly in front. That way the camera is always going to have a target directly in front of it.
So,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you quickly reach complicated math. Math. I'm still trying to. I'm learning the pronunciation. Yeah, like don't make fun of my German accent here. Math. I heard like a goat or something is closer than the dog. Like two things here. One thing is we have like this gizmo, like 3 gizmo. This is great. So you can plug this in there, position, target, and it will, if you select it, it will give you like a gizmo here.
Yeah, that's huge.
And
that's exactly what I was looking for right there.
So this might already help you a bit. So sometimes this is super useful.
With that, yeah, no, that's exactly it. Is there a way to get the camera location data out of camera into that gizmo, and then just have an offset in that gizmo to put it in front of the camera? Because then that's it.
I think this would be a cycle, but we can try.
Okay, let me pull up that scene.
There it is. But honestly, I don't think that this is what you want.
Okay.
I think what you want is a camera with rotation parameters.
Yeah.
So a completely legit requirement. I can totally understand why you need this and why you want that. And this is also this is very high on my to-do list because this gimbal lock, this is unacceptable. But this this free flight camera is something different.
Yeah.
And I'm like where I'm stuck right now is like we have two options. We could have something like let's just take this guy and rename it for sake of of discussion here. Like this could be our free flight camera. And this guy, let's write some ideas here. So just for sake of discussion. So this guy could have parameters like
it's because it's interesting too, because the WASD, like just movement, for some reason that is free fly, but as soon as you try to put a a controller onto it, that's when it isn't, which is, I don't know, it's just kind of different. I don't know why it switches over like that. You notice that too? Like it's completely free fly if you just go into camera and just US around.
Yeah, this is because like there's a component inside the editor, but only inside the editor that does this ASDF moving around thing.
Gotcha.
And
it's more editor wide instead of in the operator.
Yeah. This is an editor feature. So up, or I don't know. Maybe it would be both sides. Right, left, forward, backward. I honestly, I'm not really sure. Maybe it would be.
Then maybe
I'm not really sure like how these. So let's make it like this. So like if it's negative, it's going backwards. If it's positive, like it's going forward.
Strafe on Z, strafe on X, and then up and down, height, and then probably like a roll.
Yeah,
is probably all that would really be needed.
Strafe.
Maybe some FOV control.
How is this like this? Strafe.
Yeah, strafe. Perfect. Yep.
Okay. And like it would be like this, and then we would.
It would be strafe X, strafe Z, and then Y would just be height, I guess, instead of strafe. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wait a second. This would be the local. I'm not sure. Like let's. But then.
Yeah, you know what you know what.
And then we have to roll. I think there's like this like look around, like left, right, look, and pitch,
yaw, roll. Yep.
So these would be the parameters. If there would be 0, nothing would happen.
Right.
If there would be positive, negative, then things would happen drastically. Like if like if, like you put in a lot of roll in there, then things get completely out of hand. And then we can have like
one thing I noticed too on the right thumb, like take for example the pitch, yaw, and roll. I was able to get this functionality working in things like touch or notch, and the only way I was able to do it was to actually control the pitch, yaw, and roll of the target itself, and not even the camera, which is weird.
Yeah, this is where the math comes in. The math, because that totally depends on your coordinate system, and then within your coordinate system it depends on how your pitch and roll, like these Euler angles, they have a rotation order, and this can also be every engine can decide how to pick the rotation order.
Right.
That's why it might be different for different engines and so on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think with this thing, and maybe we have like
yeah, I sent you in chat my camera operators like that if you want to look at them.
Yeah.
Actually, I just use action camera as a type, so it's just a function. So
action camera, okay.
So just like a delegate, so it just takes a camera and just modify it depending on params. But that's more or less what you're describing right now, actually.
Yeah. I mean, like the actual camera stuff, like this is the trivial part because SharpDX has even the
just that I don't understand you. It's moving forward or moving back.
Yeah, I think like
that's how I name that. I say move up, move down, move right, move left. I don't like the strafe that much as a term.
So
and honestly, like it doesn't. If you look at my screen, it works so well, like already, like to the point where it's really kind of a non-issue. I mean, if anything, like maybe someone like Peter, would really benefit from something like that because he's building entire like environments and stuff and might want to fly around. But like, see, if I go too far forward, I know it's like that target is the camera's just snapping behind itself on the target.
Yep.
So it's like it's not. I can get around it. It's not a huge issue for me because I'll just like before I get there, I'll just. But also one thing I notice, it doesn't happen if you go high up. You know what I mean? It's only when you're kind of at ground level. It's like if you're not at a certain height. See that?
wait a second. I will put you on this. Like I'm recording your screen now. Be careful for sharing stuff.
Okay.
Because it will be in the recording. Yeah.
Yep. And then I have to hold back to go backwards or to go forwards again.
But so let's say like this is an excellent. Let's park this idea. So let's I will take you back and then let's go back to our sketch we had earlier. So I think this is an excellent use case. So let's say we have let's clear this here and then can we draw? Yeah. So let's say you have a landscape. You know, we're looking down into our scene. I think like Martin built a bunch of these things. Let's say we have like some mountains here.
Yep.
Like some contour lines, and maybe like here, like it's the next valley, and here's like and here's like a huge valley, and then we want to have like fully a scene that can be interactive, but it can run on its own because you don't want to control the camera all the time because this would be tedious. And then you would be bound to doing just that. You couldn't patch anymore and control stuff. So let's say we want to have a camera that basically it has like something here. And it's flying basically a path here. And it picks the path by every time it's too high, it flies lower. Every time it's getting too close to mountain, it's basically banking back. Every time it's too far off from the center. Let's say here is like this thing here is the center. Then it's like, you know, there's always like a little bit of attraction to the center, but basically if it's too close to a mountain, it will go back. If it's too high, it will go lower. If it's too high, then then it will fly around, but it will always be different paths because it's like a simulation almost like.
Totally.
I think this is like super valid use case, could be very, very cool for live visuals because you could have something like, okay, like the speed is like like maybe bound to the beat detection or something like this. Or like you basically, I don't know, like there could be, okay, every time I hit like a beat, then the camera jumps up or something like this. Or like there could be like all kinds, or like you have like
so say almost like a reactive like mesh collision for the camera kind of.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. That'd be super cool. Wow.
And
Whoa. I just got here, mesh collision for the camera. I'm interested.
Yeah. And so basically the way what I think what we could do is let's say, I mean, this is almost like this could almost be like a little bit like a particle system if you think about this. Because there could be a particle, this like the particle would be like Z forward here, and then I don't know what this other particle, and there could be like a force attracting it towards the center, and like like there could be like a volume field force that pushing it away from mountains. So like this you probably could build like a particle system with a single particle that's flying around here and doing its thing, and
because then you could do point to camera with that, right? Is that how you would achieve it?
Yeah, precisely. Like this is the thing I showed earlier.
Yeah,
I think it still would be very tedious to set up, but it would be kind of interesting. But let's say we also want to have like this thing with like these guys here, like we want to have like there should be like a game controller.
Right, secondary control. Yeah.
And I think what we want there is we want different cameras. So like this guy here, this would produce, I mean, it's almost working like the CPU point to camera. And the output is, it's a camera reference. So it's basically it's a definition of a camera, like like roll and position and target and so on. And the cool thing is that we have a bunch of operators that deals with cameras, like blending and setting them and so on. So we could have another op. Let's call this interactive or action camera. I like the like Fuchs's term for this. And we could say, okay, if you initialize it, it will take whatever this position is, it will clone it, write it to this action camera, and then it will use, let's say, the gamepad to control it. So you can basically fly around. And then eventually, once you are done, you stop doing anything, and then it could basically go back to this guy. Or maybe like jump between like different positions could be something like that would be very interesting. And I think this should be not too difficult to build.
Love that.
I was trying to build a functioning version of this all last night, and I got a lot of different camera interactions happening, but I never got there.
Yeah, I think honestly I built this a little bit with ASDW looking around for Alex a year ago. But I couldn't find it anymore. So sorry about that. So it got lost in a noise somewhere here. Probably maybe it's stuck in here. But I think it's and we used a CPU point to something with this. But it was tedious and not ideal. But I saw the use case why we want that.
Yeah, the part I kept getting caught on was just getting the rotations right. I tried doing a couple things with the rotate vectors, but I just couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, I think like this whole, I mean, I can, if you even want to get more scared, so I can show like a small use case I built. I can't show you the whole use case because this is it's a prototype, but it's still like for like a client, and we can't share it. But I think it's kind of cool. So let me show you maybe I can set it up again. So we have OSCInput here, and let's look at this guy. It wants a port, and let's pick here. Let's make this. What's even going on? And then on my iPhone, I'm using a app called TiXL Pro, and I'm not sure if this. Oh, it actually works out of the box. This is great. And TiXL Pro is like an iPhone app, and it uses also ARKit to figure out a very precise orientation. So it's not using accelerometer or gyroscope, but we're actually using ARKit for like camera-based tracking. And of course, like sensor fusion, all kinds of clever things that Apple does.
Wow.
And
that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and it sends it here. Basically we have this dictionary. It's still like super tedious to set up, but let's try to build something with this. So we can select dict from dictionary. Let's pin this guy and say, okay, let's pick the position. And then we can already use maybe like let's say we have like a sphere, draw a sphere with this position. And if I'm moving my phone around, you will see, okay, the sphere is moving. just already like interesting.
Nice.
Okay, sphere is the sphere is the most boring part. Let's take like a cylinder, because like a sphere doesn't have a rotation. But if we have like a cylinder, didn't we have the CylinderMesh, DrawMesh, and let's transform this guy. Translation pin. So now I can move my cylinder, but now I want to rotate it, and now it's getting complicated, because for like a proper rotation you will need quaternions. There's just no way around quaternions. You like Euler angles like we have here doesn't cut it, but quaternions are like, you don't, if you see quaternions you just don't know what the rotation is. A friend of mine does, but I can't, and most other people don't.
So in this case, when you mention quaternion, do you mean like the individual object axis beyond its like world rotation?
No, like a quaternion is basically a four,
like delta or something.
It's like a 4-dimensional vector.
Gotcha.
And I think what it is, I mean, I recently I can show you like like if you actually want to know what a quaternion is, then it doesn't hurt, you know, like it's not, I would say it will not help you, but it also doesn't hurt. So then I can recommend this thing here. Or maybe I probably can't open this. I think I have to open like a private window. My internet is so fast. Reject all. And
German internet.
3, like, don't get me started. 3 brown, 1 blue. And yeah, I have like this thing installed that so I don't get distracted by all like the chaos here. But let's guy this, like, this guy is awesome for everything that's related to explaining stuff. And here's this Quaternion video. And I think this is like these 2 videos are like the ones, it's the first time I actually understood.
Right now is something called quaternion multiplication.
It's the first time I actually understood, or had the feeling that I understood, what a quaternion is. So this is an awesome reference. But it's not really relevant for your daily life as an artist. But what you need to know is that they are very, very good at representing rotations and orientations in space. And without like any, like, there is no gimbal lock or something, there is no discontinuities, you can blend them with something called slurp, like spherical interpolation. And but this is the way to properly represent an orientation. And this is why, for instance, if you look at points to CPU, like their orientation is not Euler's, it's like 4 vectors, this is a quaternion. So this is, we are already using this all over the place into TiXL. And so if you look at this guy, so this sends the rotation as quaternion, X, Y, Z, W, for like 4 coordinates that, like, if I remove this, it changes. If I'm slowly rotating my phone around like Z, around this axis, and you see like 2 things are moving, changing simultaneously. I just don't understand why, but they, like, these axes are related, but if I change something else is rotating in correlation. And it's just complicated, but we can take these values, we can take these guys here, pick float from dict, and then we have to pick, we have to look at this, and we have to pick the rotation x. And then we have to vector 4. We have to turn this into combine this again, which is very unfortunate. So I need a helper operator for this kind of thing, but this is the way it's currently working. Then of course we have to connect all these guys. And then we have to pick to correct things here: X, Y, Z, and W. And now we have a new method called TransformMatrix. This is new. So this is only in alpha. So this is like a week old or so. But we can use move.
I have it. Okay, cool.
Okay, nice. So we can take like this vec3 and pass it into the translation, and we can this die and pass it into the quaternion. And then we say the rotation mode is quaternion, and now we get a transform matrix. And we can use this guy to apply transform matrix. And now we can actually use these guys to draw our CylinderMesh. A very, very long story. But now if I'm moving my phone here, basically this is probably
So cool.
Probably like this would be like a cube mesh or something like this. Cube. Actually it would be even better. It would be way much field. And this or field would be a box. And then, you know, because we have an iPhone and the iPhone is flat. Actually, interestingly, the coordinates are rotated. So like the size, this is like this and like this and this and probably like as edge reduce. And so I think this is now my iPhone, and it's like not too shabby from the orientation. And the reason why this is cool is you can now do things like this transform matrix you can actually apply, and then this is what I meant, you get into scary mathematical territory, but also super cool territory because it allows you all kinds of things. For instance, you can take the gizmo point we had earlier, gizmo vec3 gizmo. This gives us a vector, and then we can transform a vec3, and the transform wants a transform matrix, so we can give it this matrix. Matrix. First the matrix. And then we can do something. Let's say we want to have a line shooting out of the thing. So this would be, this is a point at this position. Then we have a point at this position. Then we pair this 4 lines. Pair 4 lines. Draw lines, and then we put this into, honestly, I don't really know. I think we should probably put it before we rotate our group, because this is now, or we calculate our transformation, and basically if I'm moving this thing around, okay, I'm so this is the original position, but you see, like this position is now relative to my phone. And with this, you could do things like you couldn't have like this could be something coming out of my phone. I don't know, like this is like a laser pointer or something.
It's it's almost like a way of like parenting things together, but in their actual position data.
Yeah, a little bit like this. So we could, for instance, say, okay, maybe if like this is like the endpoint, and we have another gizmo here, this is the starting point, and we transform both of them. Like this is guys here, this is the transform matrix, and then we have like this is the, we call this start point. And the start point would be at origin, and this is the target point. Target point. You know that now I have basically like I have like a laser pointer or something like this, and I'm not really sure like where this is going. You know, like because it's like really do we need it? But on the other hand, it's like very powerful to do these kinds of things. You know, because then if you have the transform matrix, you can actually transform. Let's say you can transform a position into the camera space and then move it forward, and then you have something that is like in front of the camera always.
Would we be able to get the current camera's transform matrix and position?
You already have that. This is already there.
Isn't that encoded in, you mean the camera reference?
There's a
CamPosition?
What?
Honestly, I'm not really sure. This is only like the position direction is almost it's a little bit like this.
I did not know that existed.
Yeah, it's very useful. So
Yeah, that was getting me somewhere last night when I was trying to make that flyer.
Yeah. I think like this thing is already, it needs to be like this is what, sorry, I made a mistake here. So it needs to be evaluated. So it needs to be connected through a group or something like this. So otherwise it will not work.
So you plug your camera into it,
and then you take like a position. And let's use this position somehow. Let's say you have like a sphere operator here. Draw sphere.
but what camera is it getting the position of? Like the camera to be plugged into it?
The thing that is currently being drawn.
So whatever is upstream from it.
Yeah. And, okay, I'm not sure what's going on here, but obviously not what I thought it would be. It's getting the position. Wait a second, it's getting the target.
Well, I guess we'd be inside the sphere, right?
It's getting the current viewer, because like this thing here is not using the like it's like a little bit confusing because it's only like applying, like this is like a transform. It's not like a camera. So we would also need a camera here. And we could move this around. So like now if we look at our draw sphere here, maybe pin this. Yeah,
well, it shouldn't apply transform matrix, transform everything up the chain, including cameras and everything.
Well, not for the camera position. If you're talking about you want to have like the transform matrix, then you are right, but this is only for the camera position and world space.
I see, I think.
Yeah, but you can do some stuff with this. For instance, you can say you can do like this also returns the direction, and then we can have an advec3. So we can take the position, add the direction to it, and then maybe like, okay, this is a little bit confusing, so maybe we clean this up by we take the direction here, and then we scale this vector 3. And I think it should actually be possible to eventually see our... Maybe not. Maybe I was wrong. I would have expected that we see our sphere eventually.
Maybe it needs an actual camera up the stream.
Oh, there it is. I mean, like the camera, we have a camera there. So like, there's our camera. But yeah, if I move this around, I don't know what's happening there. But
you're moving the camera before the transform. I mean, so your camera data is then going before the transform, and then I think as you move your camera, it's
Now I think like this is like let's take this for now. So now I'm moving my camera, and in front of the camera we have this little draw sphere. So this is our sphere here. Let's make this like orange or something like this. And the position of the sphere, so it has a position, it gets this from this connected thing here. And it's taking the camera position. So if I'm moving my camera around here, it's taking this, and to this position it adds the forward direction. And then we scale this a little bit. So like if I like this is the forward vector. If it's 1, it's right in front of me always. And if I'm starting to move around here, then we should see some kind of we should see some clipping here. But this is already, it could already be like a good starting point to get to have something in front of the camera.
Oh.
And then this guy would probably be there. So now we also have the phone in here. Getting very, very confusing. Okay, maybe I should more explain what's going on, but maybe it's also okay for now. Or is everybody more confused than when I started explaining this thing?
I think the transform matrix is absolutely a thing that needs to be in.
Yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
I feel like I would have gotten a lot further with everything I was trying out if I had known about that.
I think it's new. So far, I tried to avoid it because I thought like this is probably it's not really artist centric, and do we really need this? But then while building this prototype for this client of us, I noticed, well, you need it to build interactive stuff. You definitely need it, and yeah, I need to clean it up a little bit. For instance, right now it has like these. I think it's okay. It's probably okay, but yeah.
Well, it's essential for any kind of like video gaming controls.
Yeah, definitely.
Which I absolutely want, because I want to make interactive like toys I can VJ with, which video games feel good, right? That's their whole thing. So I'd like to be able to do a lot of the stuff they do in game engines as far as like controls go.
Yep, totally agree. Yeah, I can. Since like this talk is already like every meetup we have, it's already completely derailed. So first off, I should ask if somebody else have any questions that are not completely related to very complicated use cases. Otherwise, I can tell you a little bit about an idea I had recently, which I think could be interesting.
I like interesting ideas.
Okay.
Yeah, let it rip.
Okay, so one. Who's this? Okay, so I think somewhere there's an echo. I don't know where it's coming from, but I think now it's better. So while working on this prototype, I realized that there's a huge potential for TiXL to solve something nicely that neither Ventus nor Touch Designer have solved nicely. And this is building interactive stuff. Like not with and not interactive stuff with development, but interactive stuff just with clicking. And let's pitch this, and let's see if I can actually pull this off to and explain how I would do this without like confusing everybody. So let's start with, let's say, let's start simple. Let's say we have, we want to build something that has like an intro page. It's something, let's say you have like, you have a text here and the text says, welcome. And then you have, and this is a scene, like we pin this and then, hey, welcome to our prototype. And then we have another scene. Let's make it switch. We know how to build scenes. We use switch for this. This would be, let's say it's a rotating torus. So torus mesh, draw mesh, orbit camera, second scene. So one scene, second scene. So now we want to have this interactive. And so obviously we couldn't do say, oh, we click and then we increment a value or something like this. But maybe we want to have, let's say, maybe we also want to combine this with snapshots. Because snapshots are cool. So maybe we have, let's say, we switch to our torus scene. And let's say we have two states here. We have let's say we have an orange torus that's fat. So let's make this snapshotable. So we create an orange torus and then fat orange donut. And maybe we have another thing that is pink and it's thin. So okay, obviously this also needs to be enabled for snapshots. And if you go to snapshots, we probably need to create a new thing here. Let's make this fat pink, and let's have a third one with a thin, and then also change the color to blue, something like this. So thin blue. And then with the snapshot tool, I can switch between these three states, and I can also blend between it. So there could be like transitions. Like we go to this, change color, change size, and obviously, like this could also be a state. So so we can also enable this for snapshots and say, okay, like we have a snapshot here with like scene 1, and then we have a snapshot here for scene 2. So now my revelation for now the stuff that that will change in the future. Hopefully, let's see how I'm putting this off. So the first thing is that nobody's using the snapshot feature because it's awkward and it's complicated to set up and it's not really intuitive to use. So it's mostly I use it for my my LiveX all the time, and I know how much potential it has. But right now it's like we are wasting so much potential with this thing. It could be so much better. One reason is that it can't be controlled with operators. Another reason is it doesn't work with exported executables because it's using editor functionality, and then it's mostly catered to MIDI controller devices, to the IPC Mini.
Yeah, I was wanting to hook that up to my APC40, but I couldn't figure it out with the documentation.
Yeah, and for good reason, because the documentation is crap. I mean, there's this video, but so let me go through this. So let's see where this goes. So now we have, let's make a quick sketch. Sketch. So we have scenes we want to control. We have snapshots. And there's one more thing that I totally missed for the prototype we built for like this client, because what they wanted to do eventually was like, yeah, this is nice, but can I adjust, let's say, like here, if we transfer this, like this is awesome if like this thing would be like a little bit thinner. So let me please adjust like the thinness of this torus. And whatever, like, you know, the clients want to be clients, they want to have control and stuff. So like they want to have like sliders to play with this kind. And so I think what we want is something like we want to have exposed parameters. Parameters. So you imagine this would be parameters. And now like the plan I have. So snapshots will no longer be snapshots for like a complete operator. Like here, every parameters are snapshotable, but the snapshot property will be part of these guys. So this thing here, like clicking here right now, like clicking here will like open this menu, or clicking it with control will like break it out and so on, and clicking with alt will insert like a keyframe. This will be a context menu. One point in this context menu will be make it controllable, make it stateful. I don't know what the name for this is going to be. And you can have like all kinds of like stateful parameters in your operator, your current operator. If there are any stateful parameters, they will be listed here. And it will say, for this guy, it would say torus mesh radius. And it will immediately say like we have one state, and the current state is the radius is 101 units.
Isn't one of the appeals of snapshots that you can basically snapshot a bunch of nodes and it will automatically snapshot every single parameter? Would we be losing that? Like, because I had a similar thing with VCV Rack, and I had to like click through every single individual parameter of all these different nodes.
Well,
like, I don't know.
Excellent question. So my thing was more that most of the time I was making too many things interactive.
Yeah, that could totally be another problem.
So like and frequently I was like, oh, like I'm creative here, but then I ended up like having like I needed to clean it up, and clean it up was like super annoying, but much more annoying than like adding it.
No, that's true.
And there could be in it totally like this thing, making it stateful could be as little as like, you know, there's clicking with Control Shift or something, like click, or like Control Shift and you drag it down, and then like all of them will be like stateful. So there could be ways to make it faster, or it could be like a context menu or something like this. The nice thing is, so like this was like the, you know, you suddenly have snapshots. The snapshot would be like a view like this. There could be a toggle here that either snaps between like a table view, where like the lines, the rows are the like all the parameters that are interactive. And then you click on this thing, and it would tell you, I mean, right now, this one, it blinks and tells you, wow, these are the things that are controlled. And you can even like, I think there would be like, you can select affected operators, but this is like, believe me, this is very tedious if you want to set it up for like a complex scene, because it will be many more parameters. And but then the cool thing is there could be a third view, and this third view would be a state machine. And a state machine would be something like So let's make a quick sketch. This would be where the interactive part comes in. And so let's say we build like a bunch of we built a bunch of these states, you know, like similar like we did here. Then we could switch into the state machine thing, and then it would give you like, okay, you have like these states here, A, B, C, and so on. It would count up or whatever like we were going to name, and then you, of course, you can rename them. But then you can say, actually, if this is the welcome state, I name it welcome state. So let's remove this guy here and call it pen. So this would be welcome. Welcome. Oh, with my mouse here, horrible. And then if I press continue, I want to go to B. So we can actually, you know, we can like there would be a graphical editor that says like, okay, go from welcome to B. And you go from welcome to B if you press a trigger. And this trigger would be continue or something like this. And then if you press continue again, it would go from B to C, and these would be these two states. And you could have like this whole thing of like, yes, I can go between these two, but I never can go to welcome until I press escape, and then escape always goes to welcome. You can build like various things, like, you know, this could be then escape or something like this. And this is pretty nicely solved by, I mean, this is called a finite state machine. So like this is not something that I invented, but this is like the way the industry defines like these things. But we can do things now. We can select this guy and say, the transition back from C to B should be very fast. It should only be, let's say, half a second or something like this. And you can click this then and say, okay, like the tweeting speed is like super fast. You know, it could be like maybe like cubic, or it could be like a transition time or something like this. And with this, you can build like super quickly very complicated parts. And you could use these for all kinds of things. You could say, let's say the example before, let's say, I mean, earlier we had like this example with like this, where was this with this, like here, like this guy. So maybe we have like this guy flying around, and it could be just like, there could be sub-state machine saying, like, if I'm flying around, I'm in state, I'm flying. And then if I'm too close to a mountain, I'm in the state, I'm readjusting. And then after readjusting, like after half a second or so, I go into the state, I'm shuddering around. And each of these could have like different properties, you know, like if it's readjusting, maybe it's wet, you know, like, or maybe it's emitting particles, like all kinds of, like, you can think about all kinds of different things that could happen like in a state. And yeah, anyways, I guess I completely lost. Yeah, it might be far out there, but I think it's actually doable. And
what I think it's very similar to like if you were to create a button, and for example in CSS you have the clicked state, the active and the other states. I think that's a bit similar to what you're explaining here. Of course you can customize the curve for the transitions and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more advanced actually. And like, let's say like let's build like a small example why I think it's like a little bit more advanced. So let's say you have a welcome state, p welcome state, welcome, and you want to okay, like I'm already thinking about like super complicated things, but let's just say if I click here, if the user clicks anywhere on the screen, I go to the next screen, and this shows me a video. But the user needs to complete this video because for some reason, like this is very important that it starts with the ends with the last frame, because maybe the last frame is like the beginning of a transition or something like this. So we have like this condition: if I'm in here, I can go back and start from scratch. But the only way I can continue is if this guy is complete. And I think the video player, it has an action, like it has an output video complete. And once I'm in the next state, I could have maybe like a transition here, like a fade in or something like this. And the fade in could be well, like maybe like a transition into like showing some particles or something like this. And then here it would be like the actual, it would be different scene, and maybe like this would actually the actual play thing. And then if you start building like games and like stuff, you will see like, okay, like the fade in, it should happen automatically, let's say 10 seconds. But if the user presses skip, then it should directly jump into like the play mode. You know, like the like this should also be like a click or something. Like this should be like either you do this or this. And but here you can't. And if you do this in code, it gets very, very annoying very fast, because you will have like tons of nested if conditions, and like there's like it will be like it's a nightmare. So if you do this in code, then you build also state machines. And in effect, like the TiXL editor has like a bunch of state machines. For like it has this thing like, if I'm zooming here, I can zoom, but I can't press tab, because the state machine says in this mode tab only works if like we are in a you know, like this thing is like the graph here is a state machine with like 20 or so states. And like if I'm doing this, I can press tab. No, I can't press tab, but I could. And like yeah. And I think having like a graphical editor for like these kind of things. With Unity, there's Playmaker that does this.
I remember we have a state machine.
Beg your pardon?
I remember a state machine in Unity UI.
Yeah, but this is like in Unity UI. There's also like most of the state machine is certainly only for like the character animation. You know,
Yeah.
but for like the interactive part, there I don't have a nice solution. And I know this because we wrote our own solution here in the company. But for instance, with Unreal Engine, they figured out the same thing. We need this. So they added a state machine, actually a graphical state machine. It's more like, not really with lines and connection lines, but it's more like a tree. But they added this like 2 versions ago. And yeah, with Touch Designer, for instance, and with VVV, there are only plugins, and the plugins are miserable. It's okay, but it's only like, you know, like it's plugins, and then like somebody solves the problem.
Yeah, that's great, but then you have to use Touch Designer, which is heinous.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not commenting on Touch Design. I'm more commenting on okay, like if it's a community contribution, then frequently, you know, like eventually these people will move on and do other projects, and then the plugin will be no longer maintained, and then it will be, I think, like something native is much cooler. Yeah.
That way you don't have to worry about maintaining and updating and downloading plugins all goddamn day.
Yeah. Yeah, and then one last thing, like to bring these 3 things together with like this, we can, like if we have a set of, let's assume here we have like this list of things that are stateful, like when these things being parameters, then we could actually have this thing here. So I don't know if you've ever seen this, but I think it's a kind of like, I think it's kind of crazy. So we now have a web server that Banidu wrote. And so if we look at this thing and activate it, then we can actually take this guy here and open a website. I have to find here's our browser again. Then we can look at this website and okay, maybe we have to find the correct port here. So maybe use this guy here.
Maybe you have to type.
Also at the port here. Maybe you also have to add the port. I don't know.
Yes.
Okay, and maybe we use this guy again.
Remember that Windows broke localhost in one of the latest updates.
It is good. So like we, it's not HTTPS, but we can live with this. No, not learn more. Oh, I'm so like. Oh, wait a second. I can't.
Click up top of the URL, the not secure. And then,
Interesting.
oh wow, yeah, it's not offering to just let you.
Oh yeah, I think they moved it to like general settings, and you have to authorize like unsecured things.
I mean, like
It's a bit annoying.
considering that this is like a local IP address, I think like this is like kind of like over
Yeah,
the
this
top.
is absolutely annoying.
Maybe another browser.
It's worse in Chromium based browsers.
Maybe if I'm not using the private thing here, or actually wait a second, like I think the problem is that I have to use the local thing. So,
oh right.
So and I think if you think about like the potential of this guy here, so I mean, right now, obviously, like this is an operator that you know, we could say, I assume, I never really tried this, but hello Meetup. And then I'm disappointed. I would have expected hello Meetup to be visible there. Do we have to do something?
Maybe you have to refresh it.
Oh yeah, so, I have to refresh the page. Yeah. Like if this would show me the list of the parameters I made stateful out of the box, then this could be like just super useful. You know, it could be okay, I'm playing around with this. Hey, do you want to play around with this? Here's a QR code. This QR code will basically show like localhost, and the people would have it on the phone. Okay, I think it should be like this or this. Could almost be like, okay, like you have like a small mobile phone and you pass it around at a party while you are VJing and they are basically playing around with things, but it wouldn't need to be a MIDI controller, so it would be just like a phone or so, be wireless. And I think like all these things nicely converged in this thing that you decide which of these parameters should be interactive, so to say. And yeah, I think this has tons of potential. So I will play around with this a little bit and keep you updated. Let's see what's happening there.
That sounds super useful.
Yeah. Thanks.
The web server thing would be really fun. I wonder how many people you could actually have getting inputs in. because like even just controlling the vectors to individual like circle particles, you get a whole like at least a certain number of people in a crowd controlling large visuals on screen, which I think would be really cool.
I think it's getting annoying quickly, but especially I think I tried this for like a bunch of installations, and the bottleneck is probably like Wi-Fi, and especially like the shared amount of Wi-Fi channels. I think like if you have a router, then it only can handle like a certain amount of simultaneous connections, and this would be not in the hundreds, more like in the dozens. So eventually this will be capped. But even so, it would still be a great start. You could totally have. I mean, just imagine like if you could actually. So, let's say,
But
like yeah, you first.
that's possibly an HTTP2 limitation, no? The number of connection, I mean.
I think, as far as I know, this used to be a connection with like Wi-Fi. Like like whatever like the protocol name for Wi-Fi is. Like wireless, like 5G, like 5 gigahertz or like 2.4 gigahertz. So maybe there's also like a router issue, but and this like this information is a bunch of years old, so maybe this has changed in the meantime. But Wi-Fi, like you quickly have like network situation.
I had a question about the new proposed snapshot system.
Yeah.
So the idea is we pick what parameters in our current scene we want to be part of this snapshot.
Yeah.
And then you change your parameters, then you take a new snapshot, you change the parameters, and then you can like interpolate or jump between them. What happens if you then remove a parameter from the snapshot or you add a new parameter? How would it be handled? It's just like
you mean like how are the values filled up?
I guess because if you've like taken a snapshot when you had certain amount of parameters part of it, and then you've changed which things are snapshotted, and you've taken a new parameter, how does it will just how will it deal with interpolating between like the old snapshot that you took, which had different things?
So it's a very interesting question. So and that's why I actually want to have like this thing is all nice and stuff, but we already saw in the beginning, like if if for some reason I forgot to add like a bunch of like if like let's say this we added very late to the like, so what's like what's happening here, like where are like these parameters coming from for like this current state? The current implementation, and this is not a very conscious decision, but it's a decision I made, is if you add something late, it will fill up all defaults with the current state it has. So let's make an example here. So let's say we have we go back to our, actually this is our scene we had, and let's reset the camera here. So let's say and let's pin it. Let's say we also want to have like the size here, make this stateful at a true snapshot. Then we have to enable this for snapshots. So now it gets like this green, this blue, hardly visible thing there. So now, obviously, when I change this, nothing changes because, well, I mean, there's only one value for this. But if I add a new thing here, let's make it like teeny weeny, and add a new snapshot and call it teeny weeny. I don't know how this is being written. Then all of these will be large, Oh, wait a second. I added a preset, not a snapshot. I want to add a snapshot. So like back again. So we not a preset, but a snapshot. So also like something confusing that they're sharing the same window here. So we add a snapshot and call this teeny weeny. So I think this guy, there will be large, and this one will be small. And this, the reason for this is when I created this guy, when I added this one, making it interactive, then all of them were filled with its current value. And
so the main difference will be that we'll now have more granular control over what's part of the snapshot rather than putting entire nodes in.
Yeah.
That's really good. And did you say we would now be able to interpolate and stuff using other nodes, or just the state machine, or the idea of like how
so like a bunch of things. So like one thing that I need to do like not right now but soon, which because it's very fast, it's like an hour or so, would be a forwarder that sets like it's barely visible, but there are small identifiers in here, like it's 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, and so on. So this is the index of this of the snapshot. And we could have a small snapshot controller. Actually, there's a snapshot, but like there is already, I don't know, like does this do something? I think I tried implementing this, but I think it's not working yet. But I think the idea was to have basically have like a bunch of snapshots and they can blend between these. And obviously,
well, there's something in MaxMSP which is really nice for interpolating between states, which is it's like a 2D grid, and you put your states as points with radiuses, and then your selector is an XY coordinate, and the weight of the state is the distance from the points. So if you have a bunch of points near to each other with a large radius, you're basically making them all have a high weight, and you're interpolating to whatever a combination, like, because almost kind of what you're doing there.
Yeah. I think
the only difference is their arbitrary positions. Not that I'm like, oh, we need that, but
well, I mean, like this is like the same thing, you know, like like you know, like the positioning here is arbitrary.
That's it. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
The way. So we would effectively. Would it be possible to have a node that lets you control that, like an XY location of the interpolation of your snapshot?
Totally.
That would be awesome. Yeah, because like you said, right now it's restricted to a specific MIDI controller that can do that.
No, yeah,
but it's
totally. I did, since like if it would be an operator like this guy here. So like it's not implemented obviously. I don't know why. I think I started it, but it's like this is actually should be flagged with needs fix research experimental, so like people don't try it. But basically the idea was, okay, you need to define which presets you want. You know, like and then basically you could trigger them and then they would be activated. And then but you could also say, okay, which weights do you want? And this would be basically what this is a little bit what you described, to blend between these and like the one should be like very, very important. This would almost be a little bit like you described. Obviously, then you need to compute like the weights here, but you could have like a point set and then have like a function that iterates over these points and then calculates the distance and enters this into like a float list and insert them here. So totally doable. But yeah, needs to be
awesome. Done. And I have one more question before I don't want to keep hugging you. But I just was curious. You know, when you said you can like click to add things to be part of the snapshot system,
Yeah.
is that's in the context of the current node you're inside?
Yeah.
Like if you copied that to another node and it had, would it have like, would it I don't know, how would it behave in that kind of situation, or what's the idea for that?
This is an awesome question. And yeah, it shows me that you really understand at least part of the stuff I was trying to show. I think it's very complicated. And it depends a little bit on where do we actually store if something is snapshotable.
Yeah,
If we store it on a node, then it would be copied with the thing.
yeah.
Currently, it's stored here. The playground stores what's snapshotable. So it depends on how we implement it. And it, let's see. I don't really know.
I don't know if this is helpful or not, but from the stuff I did in MaxMSP, I'm not saying we should do it like that, but the way they do it is if you want a parameter to be considered for interpolation or storage, you give it like a name, like a variable name.
Yep.
So then if it's like in another location, like in another node, if that has stuff saved, if the name is the same, then it would like, and also like it inherited names and stuff if you go into subpatches, and it got kind of complicated. It seems more straightforward here, like, but it means you'd have to like decide, yeah, what the behavior is when you go between different contexts.
Yeah.
But it's like really exciting. Like,
I mean, like we have like a bunch of these things already. So we have get variable and we have like value and we can rename these. And like, and then obviously you can always like take and like okay, there's like a bad example, but you can take a variable and connect it to like something and control this.
Mhm.
And obviously,
Yeah,
if
and
you
that's the thing that's part of the
obviously if you would basically duplicate this, then the connection would still be there. The reason why I intentionally decided not to go that way is then you are in here and you can't modify this value anymore because this is now controlled by this guy. And then going to this guy to control it, it's sometimes annoying. I would say it's actually so, I think it's so annoying that most people wouldn't do this.
It is, yeah. I always have to like put like an add or something. If I've got like a procedural thing controlling it, but also want to have an offset for a specific parameter, then yeah, I don't know.
I mean, obviously, like if like there would be more logic for this control thing, then of course you would need to break it out and add like like remaps and stuff. But yeah,
I just remembered one other cool thing is once things are part of the snapshot system, or in MaxMSP, if something is part of the snapshot system, you can already remotely control it because it's like part of this. You can sort of break out that storage. It's called like pattern storage, and be like manipulate these things.
Do you have this live? Could you share your screen and show it?
I'm not sure if I have it installed on my new computer. Hold on.
Okay, but yeah,
I could show you sometime, totally, because I have like a thing set up that uses it.
It sounds. To be honest, I was looking heavily into. I mean, this is kind of like the story I'm kind of thinking about. Like, oh, this would basically be like something very, very interesting for TiXL. And it's not something that I'm going to implement next week. But most of the very interesting things were, like also like the current preset thing and so. Like I thought about this for like very, very many months before doing it. And this is like something similar. So I'm like I'm having this in the back of my mind and looking at other applications and trying to find similarities and so.
You can check what they do in 4V with channels actually.
Yeah, the channel thing is new, isn't it? Like they just added it.
Well, channel is something I did as a plugin before, and they added it in their latest version.
Yeah, I saw a very, very short presentation in the last, like in a meetup before the last meetup, but it was kind of flawed presentation, I have to say.
Okay, yeah.
They didn't really go into details, and it was kind of all over the place.
Yeah, but yeah, the whole thing, well, it was something I did as a plugin, and it works kind of well because you define your variables and you do learning with MIDI or OSC, and you just reuse.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of nice because for VJing, like, I mean, it's the old plugin looks, well, my version looks really awful because it's Windows Forms, but well, nevertheless, it works good. But it saved my ass so many times.
Yeah, I mean, these are two excellent points. So, like, I will definitely look into Max MSP, and I will look into the channel stuff with the UV before.
Yeah, I don't know, the old version I did, in my opinion, is a bit better than what they did because I never managed to get their version working.
I think you are biased, but I would be too. I always think that my...
In a way, I wrote the thing, so if I cannot make the thing I cannot make work the thing I've write, that will be a bit of a problem, let's call it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like conceptually it's the same, and it kind of works quite good. What is really nice actually with this system is you can actually change MIDI controller very easily.
Yeah, I think
you have a global variable, you save only the mapping as a file, like just XML, JSON, whatever. And you can say, for example, I want to control this with APC or whatsoever, and then I want to control this with OSC, so you can really change only the mapping, and that is really cool versus having, the learn inside the patch.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that was all, like, maybe, I don't know, I don't even remember how we got on this tangent. Maybe we should build something with beautiful pictures.
That sounds fun.
So we can look into like the field, like we could look into this noise, what was transform displace distort field, like how was this called?
Spatial.
Special.
No, SPAC.
Special displace.
SPAT. I don't even. That's what my on.
We can look into this guy. I think it was like super. And it's great, we have a new contributor. Welcome, Nick, to the list of contributors.
Super happy.
It's absolutely awesome. Because I think
I have a feature request.
Sure.
Special displace is allowing to displace everything in the space.
Mask it with an SDF.
SDF to color, special SDF to color.
Wow. Well, but can't you just displace an SDF that then gets sampled for color?
If you want to have the front of this grid, of this mesh blue, and the back red, how do you do to make a gradient?
With another SDF?
Yeah, this already works.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's look at how this works. Okay, we have a spatial repeat. We have a box. Like, let's take this guy here and like check out if we can actually. Oh no, I wanted to take this guy. I didn't want to break the example here. So let's look at this guy and let's or maybe we have a box frame and we have some repeat here. So, okay, box frame. Ooh, wait, this took a long time. And so we have this guy, and let's make it interactive by this. It's called sample position, which is interesting. So
depend what you're trying to do, because there's the actual offset as well. Sample position is kind of how far away you're sampling because there's free simplex noise functions, and
this would be like there's almost like a seed value.
So kind of like the simplex noise function 1 resolves the x coordinate of the world space, and the sample offset is how far away along x you're sampling in 3D space that simplex noise function. I might whenever I think about it, I'm like, could I have done it in a different way? I'm not sure, because the simplex noise function returns a float value, but its input is a 3D coordinate. So to get the 3-dimensional displacement, I sample 3 simplex noise functions x, y, z, and the sample position is the sample position.
Yeah, but that's the way you do it. It's normal. It's fine.
Yeah. So then offset is the offset input of the simplex noise function, all 3 of them, and scale is the scale parameter of all 3 simplex noise functions. So I'm not sure, that offset parameter gets plugged into all 3 simplex noise functions. So that's I'm just saying what the difference is between sample position and offset, and I think they're different. Yeah.
To be honest, I haven't really understood it, because if I do this, I see that basically y is getting.
I think what you'll find, I think you can treat it like seed, but one thing you might not want to do is have it all set to 0, because then I'm not sure if you had like a big structure, it might look weird, like it might look biased in some way.
Okay.
Like having it more spread out, I think makes it more.
Should I set? Okay. Okay.
Maybe 1 should have been the default, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, that's default. Okay. Anyways, we wanted to have like this repeat. Repeat. Actually,
I use limit because it's a bit easier to look at.
yeah, I mean, we can. I don't know why this is like so slow. My graphics card is. I don't know why it's so slow. I think maybe this is.
Maybe it's not an efficient enough for it.
Or maybe it's OBS. No, it's like not. This is definitely not you. This is me. So we have like this. Maybe skip shader optimization and we'll make it a little bit faster. So
Your computer is recommending Windows updates every Monday.
Maybe
every
like
Monday,
this.
every day.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on here. So maybe I know what's going on. Maybe this is my maybe I limited my CPU fan, and maybe it's now too warm or something like this. This could be something.
Does SpeedFan does that really? I mean, maybe.
I don't know, but this is like nothing. 60 is nothing.
No, 60 is 0 is nothing. I know on NVIDIA, like basically your slowdown is 105, 105, and your shutdown is 110. That's graphics card temp.
Maybe, I mean, sometimes don't they have like this battery thing or something like this? Let me quickly. I think like it's so slow, it's like unusable. Power.
Did you go on the wrong card? Maybe you're on the Intel card if you're on laptop.
Yeah, I think this is okay. I don't. I think like this seems to be like the correct thing.
While we're on this topic, Resolute Wire has a feature that shows the resource usage of every single node. I don't know exactly what that would take, but if that were possible, that'd be incredible for optimization.
Yeah, I can show you like a similar thing. So right now I'm unbalanced.
Have you tried turning it off and on?
Of course not. Here. I want high performance. Next. But how do we switch to high performance?
But if you need to restart TiXL if you want to change. It's not gonna change the GPU on the same process.
Yeah, I mean, no, this is not what I. On my Windows 10, there was like an icon and a taskbar that has like things like if you are like what's the performance? Are you optimizing for battery life or optimizing for?
Ah, yes, okay, yeah.
But I honestly just don't know where this thing went with Windows 11.
Here, I can show you. I just did this the other day. You see this?
Wait a second.
You see my screen?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, so in here, type in graphics. It'll take you to this.
Graphics. Okay.
I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
scrolling for some reason. What's happening here? Well, I mean, you see this,
Yeah.
and it's all these. I don't know why it's just
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
it's wild. Yeah, but that should get you there.
You have
Okay.
something on your keyboard or something?
Oh, also in that same window is something called GPU scheduling, which I found that I had to turn off to keep Resolume from getting really laggy when while I'm in TiXL. In the advanced graphics settings, there's that. Yeah, that makes things like Resolume and TiXL fight a lot.
HW scheduling, yeah, it's sometimes a pain. I know I heard some horror story about that options.
Yeah, I disabled it, and now they only really fight whenever there's no resources left.
Yeah, you should not actually. Yeah, I was told you should turn it off all the time.
Yep. It helped a lot. It helped so much.
Yeah, I think I'm actually so confused like why they changed this. I mean, obviously, I'm biased here, but like what?
No, all their updates are made by AI.
Yeah, maybe mostly battery settings.
Oh, so if you go back to that screen after setting your power mode, if you add the TiXL.exe file, you can set it to high performance, like specifically the .exe.
Oh, man, this is so complicated now. Fucking hell. Why do they do that?
There's a cool program
What's that?
called Quick CPU that allows you to tweak the CPU
add desktop
scheduling
app?
and core parking.
Yeah, I mean, but the fact that you
You'll have
have
to
to
get
use a
the
program and not do it in Windows straight
Location.
up is.
I know,
Oh,
shit.
God,
this
Half-Life is bad.
this is going to be. Let me quickly do this. But it might be.
That's one of the reasons I switched to Linux.
Makes sense. Would kind of like to do that, but changing all my render engine to Vulkan, and especially the UI will take some time. Let's go that way.
Yeah.
How is Wine on Linux actually now?
It runs well, but I was actually gonna ask the question like, what's the if there is still like big hurdles for like native Linux support?
Getting there.
Fact of running in DX11 is a hurdle, obviously, in your case. Well, in my case as well. I mean, so native Linux, if you run DX, is not really ideal.
Yeah, and then GPU preference. Click that the drop down, yeah.
Yeah, but I think this
And high performance.
Yeah, I think we already do this. I'm honestly, I think I'm not really sure why it's like so slow. I think something else must be going on. I think this might be related to something completely different. I think Okay, you will not understand why it's slow, but I can show you why. It's slow because display settings. This screen is currently shared with a non-plugged-in display hanging on my wall.
Hmm.
And this duplication is super slow.
Can you can you show your task manager quickly?
Sure. But I'm not sure if this is going to be shared.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah, but can I see the process? Where is I need to look for DW. Yeah, desktop window manager. Yeah, you see sometimes desktop window manager is doing that, and that's what deals with the sharing. So basically, if DWM is kind of high, that's the issue.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
But anyways, I think if I just switch to extend instead of duplicate, and then go back to my little screen here.
It looks pretty okay now. Not sure actually.
The problem is that I can't find it anymore. Where is it?
DWM is such a pain. It's horrible.
Oh no! Wait a second. It reverted it. Only
You
show
should be able
on.
to say disconnect the unused display.
I would only show on 2. Keep changes. What? Like what's even like? Like, can somebody explain to me like this? Like what this even does?
Keep changes.
Oh man, I so want to actually go on Linux as well.
Wait a second. I will just like unplug my display here.
That may actually be the simplest solution.
Hardware is bestware.
Yeah, recoding my whole graphics pipeline from DX to Vulkan will take at least a year.
Yeah, I think it will be horrible. And oh no!
It's not horrible. I will not call it horrible. It's kind of cool, but it's time consuming.